Welcome in, everyone. This is Sean with MTG808 Jr., and I've got Eric.
Hello, hello.
And Mike.
What's good?
And we are continuing our Artisan Deck Seed series, this time with the addition of Theros cards.
Yes.
I don't think we have too many Theros cards that are going to be built around today, but we are going to be mentioning them. So the first deck that we wanted to highlight here is built around this dude.
Yep.
Good old Crackling Drake.
Whew.
So Crackling Drake is blue, blue, red, red for a creature Drake 0/4 flying. His power is equal to the total number of instant and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card.
Yep.
So this guy is like the big payoff for playing a deck that is just chock full of instants and sorceries.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing some card draw, you're playing some spot removal, and then you're playing this guy to kind of close the game. It's not uncommon for this guy to get like 12, 13, 14, 15 power,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? So some other cards that go well with it. Terramander, also a Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Drakes like their instants and sorceries. 1 blue for a Salamander Drake 1/1 flyer. You can adapt it for 7 and a blue, so 8 mana total, and you would adapt 4, so it would turn into a 5/5. However, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So if you have 7 or more instants or sorceries in your graveyard, you can adapt this into a 5/5 for just 1 mana.
It's a 2/2.
Works perfectly
a
with your
5/5
strategy.
for 2 mana.
Yeah. And then the other payoff for this card, well, there's 2.
Yep.
Right, so you have Saheeli, the Planeswalker, so it's a blue-red hybrid mana, 2 of them, and a colorless for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. Passive ability, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. And then her -2 is target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So Saheeli makes a bunch of 1/1 servos, and then you can minus her to turn them into
Drake.
Crackling Drakes,
Yep.
right? Or turn your servos into Murmuring Mystics.
Mm-hmm.
So Saheeli kind of snowballs a lot. Murmuring Mystic, of course, 3 colorless, 1 blue for a 1/5 human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion creature token with flying. So Murmuring Mystic makes flyers, Saheeli makes artifact non-flyers, and then Crackling Drake and Terramander are your kind of
Yeah.
really big fat creatures. So with just these 4 as your payoffs, you throw in a bunch of spot removal, you throw in some card draw.
Mm-hmm.
Opt is going to obviously be
Yeah.
in this deck, and then you have a really powerful.
Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a control
Yeah.
deck, yeah, because you're trying to kind of win the game either through attrition with your token makers or just with one big
Yeah.
powerful threat with your Drakes. So that is Izzet spells.
I think what makes this so good is that most of the cards in Izzet, like in the standard Izzet, it are commons and uncommons to begin with. You're only losing out on a couple of key cards like Arclight Phoenix and all that. Yeah, Alliance.
Yeah, this card
Improbable
may or may
Alliance.
not belong in the deck, but if you have enough card draw in your deck, Crackling Drake will trigger Improbable Alliance if you play like Radical Idea, right? Opt will trigger Improbable Alliance.
Yeah.
So this card, I don't know if you want 4 of this card, but this should definitely also be considered for the archetype.
But yeah, this is basically a slightly powered down standard deck. And that's what makes
Crackling
it so good.
Drake saw play in standard
Yeah.
Yeah.
in many different versions of blue-red, so the power level is definitely there. All right, the next deck is very exciting.
Oh,
So Gates, unfortunately Gates Ablaze, well maybe not unfortunately, but unfortunately for this deck, Gates Ablaze is banned in the format. It would be the most powerful sweeper in the format if it were legal.
Gadzooks.
But there are still a ton of Gate payoffs, not including Gates Ablaze. So we have... So basically, the gates are every 2-color pair has a gate. It comes into play tapped. It makes one of each of those colors, and it is a land type gate. And there are a lot of cards right now in Standard that care about the land type gate. One of them is Gatebreaker Ram.
Yep.
3 mana, 2/2 creature sheep. Would be very underwhelming, but it gets +1/+1 for each gate you control, right? So if you're playing a deck with like 25 lands and maybe like 18 to 20 of them are gates,
20.
then this guy is gonna come into play on like turn 3 or 4 and be a 4/4 or a 5/5.
Yep.
Right? Or maybe even a 6/6 if you play it on turn 4. Right? So, you know, that's really powerful. And then as long as you control 2 or more gates, it has Vigilance and Trample. So not only are you playing this super undercosted giant creature, but it also plays defense and tramples over all their stuff. So, you know, playing a turn 3 Gatebreaker Ram and then just scaling it for the rest of the game is going to go a long way to just overpowering most opponents. Also, this archetype probably has the most powerful card draw engine in the format, in the form of Guild Summit. So 2 colorless and a blue for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap any number of untapped gates you control. Draw a card for each gate tapped this way. So if in the late game, if you have a ton of lands in play, you play this, tap all your gates, you draw like 7 cards. And then if you play it on turn 3, you're not going to get much from the first trigger, but it also says whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. If you're playing like 20 gates in your deck, that's almost all of your lands drawing you a card when they come into play, so you're never going to run out of gas. The next gate payoff here, Gate Colossus, 8 mana, 8/8. But it costs 1 less for each gate you control.
So 0 mana, 8/8.
Yeah, essentially. Some like you're gonna be playing this for like no more than 4 mana, ever. And it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so it has pseudo evasion. Lots of death touch creatures out there have 2 power or less. And so if that isn't enough, right? Your 8 mana, 8/8, or your free 8/8 that can't be blocked by a ton of creatures, also comes back from the graveyard whenever you play a gate. Whenever you play a gate, you can put it on top of your library. So
and that's each of your Gate Colossuses. So if you have 4, then all 4 come on.
And so if you have a Guild Summit in play and a Gate Colossus in your graveyard, and then you play a gate, if you stack the triggers in the correct way, where the Guild Summit resolves after the Gate Colossus trigger, then you just play your gate and you get your Gate Colossus back into your hand.
Yep.
So you got all these awesome gate payoffs. Your deck is slow because you're playing a bunch of come into play tapped lands, and Archway Angel is another great gate payoff that just kind of brings you back from the brink. So, you know, it's a 6 mana, 3/4 flying angel. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each gate you control.
Ooh.
Right? So you're going to be gaining like 6 to 20 life with this card. Right? And then to tie it all together, you have Circuitous Route, which is a great ramp spell. 3 colorless and a green. Sorcery, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. That by itself would be a powerful card, but you could also get gates instead of basic lands.
And you can draw cards from it, and you can make your creatures bigger, and you can gain life.
And you can bring back your Gate
So
Colossus.
all these cards just work together to create like these very over-the-top effects. So as long as your opponent isn't killing you before you can get your stuff online, which is a reasonable concern because all your lands come into play tapped. But assuming that you get to the late game, I think that this deck hands down has the best late game, or the most powerful late game.
I think this would be the most powerful deck if it wasn't for, like, it'd be hands down tier S if it wasn't for Gates of as long as we didn't ban Gates of Blaze.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing we did that.
Yeah. So like I think in terms of building this deck, because you're playing all gates, like you can basically play 4 colors and it doesn't really bother you. So I think, you know, obviously you're playing blue, green, and white, and then I think the last color you want is probably red.
Splasher,
Flame Sweep is in the format and is a reasonable sweeper to help keep you alive.
Cry.
Yeah. Well, Cry is double black.
Double black, but
so I think I would prefer to lean towards Flame Sweep instead of Cry.
Yeah.
And then you also get other great removal spells like Lava Coil or whatever else you want to play.
I can imagine playing the Beanstalk Giant in this.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, like you probably want to play either Growth Spiral or the new one. what's
Which
it
one?
called?
The land.
The wolf.
The enchantment. Yeah, the wolf willow.
Oh,
Wolf Willow Haven.
Yeah.
Probably like Growth Spiral is harder on your mana, but putting the land into play means that you're putting more gates into play instead of just making more mana. And then Arboreal Grazer also helps you speed up your deck so that you're not it's the 1 mana 0/3. This guy.
if you put a land card. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Titan's friend.
Yeah, I think that the shell of this deck is there. You just got to figure out your numbers, figure out what your flex slots are going to be. But, like, the core of this deck is there. Like, the core of this deck is competitive in regular standard.
I think the only cards that weren't in the deck that were not common and uncommon were, like...
Shocklands.
Well, maybe one Shockland, but... Hydroid Crassus.
Plaza of Harmony.
Yeah, and Hydroid Crassus.
Yeah. Mass Manipulation.
Well, those are extra. Those are all...
Yeah.
I can see a...
You could put Fairy of Wishes.
No, I can see Mirror Shield in this on a Gatebreaker Ram.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, Mirror Shield would probably go in this deck.
Oh,
man. All right, so the last deck we have here for this video would make Sir Mix-a-Lot proud.
Yep.
He likes big butts, and so does High Alert.
Yes.
So this was one of the more powerful archetypes in this draft format for Ravnica Allegiance. If you got an early High Alert and just built your deck around this card, you had it was hard for other decks to overpower you. So it's a enchantment, a white, a blue, and a colorless. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have defender. And then, of course, Gravy, you can pay a blue, a white, and 2 colorless to untap target creature. So with this and
Huatli,
you get a little redundancy, right? Huatli is a hybrid planeswalker, starts with 7 loyalty, and her passive is each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So Huatli doesn't let you attack with defenders, but she does turn your big butt dudes into wrecking balls.
The good thing is a lot of the cheap high toughness creatures don't even have defender. Like if you looked at Yoked Ox and Merfolk Secret Keeper, those ones just cost 1 mana and they're 0/4s.
So Merfolk Secret Keeper
and Yoked
and Ox.
Yep. So they're 0/4s. You have the War Screecher and Concordia Pegasus and the 1/4 for 3. They're just flyers with evasion. And in this deck, you actually have a board wipe. Not a board wipe. You have a what are they called? An Anthem? Or not Anthem. You have a Inspired Charge, basically, in Tower Defense.
Yeah, if you want to go into 3 colors.
Tower Defense is 1 in a green, instant, and it gives your creatures +0, +5, and reach. So if you have all of those creatures out, and then you just swing in, you're like, oh, whatever, it's not that much damage, I'll just block here and here and here. And then you Tower Defense and you kill them, you're good.
Yeah. Essentially giving your creatures +5/+5 for 2 mana. So, like, the upside of this deck is that it's very powerful if you have your High Alert in play. The downside of this deck is that if you don't have your High Alert in play, you probably do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're playing a bunch of 0-powered stuff. So
what I've seen is people run Dovin's Veto just because you're mainly white-blue. So in case you get countered or anything happens, you have that. So you play all of your creatures, just wait, play your High Alert. If it gets countered, you Dovin's Veto it, and then you swing in.
Yeah.
Or
you can play your Elite Arrestor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Slow the game down a little bit. Glaring Aegis. I've seen people put that.
I can see blue-white.
Yeah, it's mainly blue-white, but you run the green for Tower. Because Huatli is hybrid, so, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like some ways that you can protect yourself. Ooh, no, this is probably not good enough. I want that card to be good.
You have Gauntlet of Light.
Oh yeah, this card. Right, this one assigns.
Yeah, it's a mini
assigns
big
combat damage. Right, it's an aura.
Yeah.
The what was it? Mirror
Shield.
Mirror Shield will probably go in this deck.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
So
I can see it.
Yeah, I don't. Teo. Hey.
Yeah, Teo.
Teo.
I see that more of a side. Well, I'm not really sure.
I'd rather play Teo than Yokdox, right?
Yeah.
What else?
So blue? What does have in blue?
No, that's pretty much it besides Secret Keeper. There's the 0/4 or the 1/4 Vigilance. The Zoria Sky Keeper or something. It's 3 mana.
What else you got there?
Oh, that's the next one.
Oh, Murmuring Mystic. That'd be dope.
Murmuring Mystic.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not playing.
Yeah,
instants
you know
and
spells.
sorceries.
Yeah.
Where is it? I remember it costing 3. It's a bird.
I know what card you're thinking of. I don't know the name of it.
There it is.
Oh,
Senate
Senate Courier. There we go.
What did it do?
It's
Oh,
just
that's
a it's a 1/4.
3 mana, 1/4 flyer, and you can give it vigilance.
Yeah.
But it turns into a 4/4 flyer.
I'm
when
thinking
you
of all
play
of the
high
cards
alert.
that killed me during the high alert days.
Yeah.
I thought of that card. That one's a little too expensive.
Yeah.
Humongulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Humongulous was in that archetype.
A 5/5 hexproof creature.
Yep.
Gadzooks.
And then...
You kind of don't want to delve into black or green.
Yeah. But, there are some artifacts that would be worth considering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, the Mirror Shield. Junk Troller.
The thing is
That's
with
the
this,
one.
you don't want to put a lot of defender things just because
want-
high alert is the only one that
Oh,
really.
Yeah, you want to put some number of like regular creatures too.
Well, you want to try and make all of them regular
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah, you don't want to play the defenders.
No, because if you only have Watley, you gotta work with Watley.
That's true.
That's why Teo is a little iffy.
Oh yeah, they're defenders.
Teo's
Teo.
shield doesn't have defender. The
Yeah,
creature.
that's what I was thinking of. What about this guy?
No, it's not strong enough.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, since you're running white or blue, you just have all of that control shield or control shell as
Oh
well.
hey, this guy can go get high alert.
It could. Yeah, and you're in the colors.
I don't hate that. This like elite guard mage, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Oh,
Oh, right, him.
Oh yeah, this guy.
I forgot about him. The
This
5
guy.
mana 5/5 that can't be blocked.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a lot of power in this archetype. It is a very high variance deck,
Yeah.
but I think it is strangely satisfying
Oh,
to
definitely.
to beat your opponent, right, with your big butt dudes.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like an all or nothing combo,
Yep.
but worth it. Worth it.
You would
Yeah.
main deck 4 copies of Dolben's Beetle.
Yeah, no, you do. You should.
Or a Hypnotic Sprite. No, not Hypnotic Sprite. Maybe Hypnotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I like this guy more than Yokdox.
Because it does something. It does something not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is it for today. We got at least one more video coming to you guys on this topic. And I think like we made our list and we took like our top 11, 12 of them, but I think there's a lot more than just the 12 that we came up with, right? Like we just took the cream of the crop
Yeah.
and came up with 12.
best of the best.
So there's no shortage of awesome stuff to brew in this format. Let us know what you're thinking, and we would love to hear from you guys. What do you think about Izzet spells, gates, and big butts? Sir Mix-a-Lot. All right, that is it for us today. We will
Yes,
catch
sir.
you next time.
Later.
See ya.